We operate 3 principal programs. Our flagship program, of course, is our dance program.
So I'd love to hear from you, our listeners. How do you really see the arts playing a role in community building within your own neighborhoods?
So we design our programs to run throughout the school year in partnership with the school to meet the credit requirements with the Ministries of Education.
And we'd love to support OLI with this cause. The support from community and businesses alike, it's crucial for the sustainability.
This year, we had 300 kids starting the program in some of the schools. And we're like, wow, we didn't expect that.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of the Indigenous-SME Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Maheen, and we're here to dive into the impact of small businesses on our economy and society. Today, we focus on the transformative power of arts and education in Indigenous communities, a vital but often overlooked aspect of our social fabric. We're joined by Dr. Hope Sanderson, the dynamic CEO of Outside Looking In, an organization that has made remarkable strides in empowering Indigenous youth through dance and education. Under Hope's leadership, OLI has expanded its reach, providing a platform for youth to express themselves and gain invaluable life skills. With a background that spans over 3 decades across various sectors, Hope brings a wealth of experience and a deep commitment to fostering positive change in the Indigenous community. Hi, Dr. Hope, and welcome to the Indigenous-SME Small Business Podcast. How are you today?
I'm really good, thanks. Thanks for having me here today.
It's a pleasure to have you with us, and we're quite eager to learn some of the most inspiring work that you're doing with OLI. And second of all, we'd love to dive into your experiences with various leadership roles that you've covered over the span of years. Let's begin by learning a bit more about your organization, Outside Looking In, which is known for its innovative approach to community engagement. Hope, could you tell us a little bit more about Outside Looking In and the core programs that you offer?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I've been at OLI for almost a year now. And so I've taken over from our predecessor, who was the founder. And she founded it 17 years ago. And so we're just finishing our 17th year. And we work exclusively with Indigenous youth, mostly in very remote, fly-in only communities. And we have a few urban communities that participate as well, both here in Toronto and in Winnipeg mostly. And we've been around, as I said, for 17 years. We operate 3 principal programs. Our flagship program, of course, is our dance program. And the reason that we do dance is a couple of reasons. The most important is that this kind of stuff doesn't exist in these remote communities, right?
Right.
Dance just is not, there's not dance studios and choreographers and ballets and theaters, right? In most of these remote communities, it's really just the school and a rink and a northern store, right? That's about all that exists in most of these communities. So most programming happens at the school, and it depends on the resources that they have. So one of the things in my experience of working in communities for well over 30 years, and I'm Indigenous myself, so living in the community, is that the reason we're successful is because we go there. My experience tells me when you start to have to take students out of the community, your success rate goes down. So our dance program takes place in the community in partnership with the schools, and we have a lot of volunteer commitment from the schools in these communities. And so our dance program is our flagship, as I mentioned. And the other reason that we bring dance to the communities is that the kids love it. And Tracy was a dancer. My predecessor, Tracy, the founder, she was a dancer. And she found how it impacted her life and her success. And she wanted to take that to the communities and provide children with that opportunity. Our other 2 programs are evolved as a result of our presence in the community. Because we have been a constant, steady, positive presence in so many communities for so long, the communities have said to us, we would like more. So we created a Future Leaders program. Now, both of these programs that I've just mentioned, Dance and Future Leaders, they are 4-credit programs, high school credit. So we have students who participate in both of those programs, so they get 2 high school credits for it, which is dramatic in remote communities. As you know, in the Indigenous community, we have a problem with high school completion.
Right.
So this is a motivator. It's our prime motivator Outside Looking In, is to increase graduation rates. And so with the Future Leaders program, when kids are participating in both programs, because they have to be in dance to be in Future Leaders, right? They take on extra commitment, extra dedication, extra work. So they're rehearsing 3-4 nights a week sometimes, right? So it's keeping them busy and focused on healthy outlets rather than some of the distractions that youth can be attracted to in Canada, and particularly in some of these remote communities. And then our last program, which also evolved out of demand from the communities, was because we've been around for so long, Naheen, and we've been so present and so positive, the students started to say to us, well, what happens after we graduate? We have no connection to you anymore. So we created the alumni program, and we've modeled it to be one that provides the youth with exposure beyond their current environments in these northern remote communities. So we do bring the world to them, and we bring them to the world to expose them to different types of career streams and sectors, right? So it's one of our ways that we stay connected. Interestingly enough, if you come to the show this year, which I hope you will see one of the students talk about how the students wish that they could come to work for us, right? Someday. They just want to stay with us, right? And now we have 15 alumni who are working for us at the show this year. And we have many of them work in the communities who run some of our choreography during the school year, because this program runs throughout the school year. And it's very expensive to fly to these communities. Very expensive. So one of our biggest cost items in this program or in this organization is travel to the communities. A return trip to Baker Lake is $6,000.
That's a
lot. So we send professional choreographers to go in and develop the formations and teach the kids how to dance. But we can't do that every week, right? And choreographers don't live in these communities. Not yet. We're developing the talent, and our alumni are becoming our choreographers in the community. So not only do we grow talent, we're growing a talent pool in the communities for the future, right?
We love this. Your passion, for this cause really resonates through the success of these programs. And you're right. The influence of arts on mental health and on education cannot be overstated. And on that note, we'd love to delve a bit deeper into these programs, right? Can you delve into how OLI's programs specifically aid in improving educational outcomes and mental health among Indigenous youth?
Yeah, those are really good questions. Thank you for that. So the first is we have teachers on our staff who help us design the program so that they meet the Ministry of Education's requirements for credit, because we have to do that, right? And we're operating in multiple provinces. And so, and every province has different requirements. So we design our programs to run throughout the school year in partnership with the school to meet the credit requirements with the Ministries of Education. So that's an incredible piece, because if you can't get the credit, then there's less of a carrot for the students to come out, right? And remember, our primary objective is to keep kids in school and to get them through to graduation, right? So we have a 96% graduation rate for the kids that start and complete the program. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the on-reserve graduation rate in Canada is about 46%. Dramatically lower than the mainstream, which is about 91%. We exceed even the Canadian standard.
Wow. No, it's really inspiring to hear how transformative of an impact OLI is making on its participants. But did you notice any differences between participants before and after they joined OLI?
That's a very good question. I think particularly you'll see that at the show this year, and you'll see it in our previous shows in the videography that we present. And I've personally experienced it this year. I'll give you a personal example of just one star little performer who's coming to the show. I shouldn't say little. He's now almost a grown man because he's been with the program. But when I first went into the community this year, so this is my first year, I'm just visiting the communities for the first time, and the kids kind of peek around corners in the school, right? And I start to get to know some of them, and one of them, he was wearing a mask, right? And there's no longer a requirement for masks, but for a lot of these youth who are shy, and they're very, very shy, the mask is a shield, right? And so in my first encounters with him, the mask was on. And as the week went on, I was there all week, the mask started to come down, right? And then he started to talk to me. And at first I had to get really, really, really close to his mouth with my ear, even with the mask on, right? To hear him. And now He's being interviewed for our media interviews. The mask has come off. He wants to tell his story. And he tells his story, and it's that OLI has changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
That's one example. And that is replicated across almost all of our students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, with the mental health issues that are facing our community, this program really helps build confidence with these kids.
Right.
They come out, they start in the gym and they're in the corner or they're on the bleachers. They don't come off. They wear really baggy clothes,
Yes.
And then as they start to come back to choreography week after week and rehearsals, they start to get in more fitting clothes that allow them to move better and their bodies to be seen better, because on stage they're going to need to be seen, right?
Right.
And they transform in the most spectacular way. They become butterflies.
Oh,
seriously.
Oh, that's
and I cannot watch the closing performance of our show from last year. I've seen it 100 times, and every time I do, and even now I'm tearing up thinking about it, it makes me cry because these kids don't get opportunities to transform from that caterpillar to the butterfly without somebody propping them up, somebody feeding them and coaching them and mentoring them and telling them they're strong and they're good and they're beautiful and they can be anything they want. That being repeated over and over again and seeing the outcome of their hard work and getting on stage and coming in the theater and seeing the lights, it just makes them butterflies.
Wow. You've done nothing but just build so much suspense for us. I'm eagerly waiting because I believe this animal showcase that OLI highlights. I mean, it's truly one of the events that, it drives a lot of attention each year. Isn't it so incredible to think about the power of arts in shaping futures? And as we've heard from Hope, these programs do more than teach skills. They transform lives. So I'd love to hear from you, our listeners. How do you really see the arts playing a role in community building within your own neighborhoods? Share your thoughts and let's continue this conversation about the arts as a tool for empowerment and education. But tell us more about it, Hope. Like, what can attendees expect or the audience expect this year?
We have a new producer this year, and that's Tamara Podemsky. And she was on our board, actually, for several years, and she's come off the board to produce the show this year. And I've known Tamara for many years, and I was so, so pleased when she said she would take this on. So because Tamara is an actress, a singer-songwriter, a producer, a dancer, she brings a different skill set, and primarily this year, I think what people will see is her theatricality that she's woven into the show. So as I send out invites to people who I want to come to the show, particularly for the first time, one of the things I say to them is, be prepared to be on the edge of your seats and then on your feet, because it's going to be a rockin' show.
Now, Hope, it sounds like an incredible opportunity for the youngsters to get their talent up and shine. Thank you for tuning into the Indigenous-SME Small Business Podcast. We're going to take a quick break to catch our breath. Stay with us, and we'll be right back with more insights and stories from the heart of small business.
You dreamt big. You made the leap. You and your "we're not stopping at small" business. Doesn't matter you've never done it before. You unlock those problems. You adapt to change. You learn to evolve. You're pioneers in challenging times, finding your own frontiers. Wherever you e-commerce, UPS is with you. So nothing is going to hold you back.
Welcome back to the podcast. We hope you're as excited as we are into today's topic. Let's continue our journey into the inspiring world of small business, full of innovation and passion.
Yeah.
And we'd love to support OLI with this cause. I mean, the support from community and businesses alike, it's crucial for the sustainability of for organizations that are not for profits like OLI. But can you tell us a little bit more, like how can organizations and businesses contribute to the success of OLI?
Oh, so there's a big long list. So far we have incredible support. We have some long-standing partners and supporters from a financial perspective who have helped us put on this show. And the show is one thing, but it takes a lot of financial planning and commitment to get the choreographers into the community, for our staff to develop, design, and implement and assess and measure and report on the programs. So the support is absolutely necessary, and we get support from so many different sectors. We get private sector, we get private family foundations, we get government support, we get corporate support, and we get support from just the average person on the street.
Right.
You know, I see the donor reports that come in on a daily basis, and I see the emails that say, we got $5 from this place. We have monthly donors who send in $20 a month. And, you know, in my background in the fundraising world, there is a saying, is that people don't give because they were never asked.
Right.
And people give because they were asked. Right?
That's a good one. Always ask.
Yeah.
Always ask.
It doesn't hurt, but it might help.
For sure.
Right? So the support comes in so many different ways. It comes in opportunities like this to be able to tell our story in different venues, in different mediums, to the world who might not know about us.
Right.
And it's really about getting that brand recognition. You know, we have a saying in our community, and it's broader than our community, but it takes a village, right, to raise a child. And we're raising children.
You're doing an amazing job.
So the people who support us are our village people, I like to say, right?
It truly is. Let's put it that way. But Hope, are there any programs like partnerships or sponsorships that you find most effective?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, this year in particular, we started a new partnership with Sun Life.
Okay.
And it was really very organic. Their chief technology officer, Alan Porter, and I sat down just after I started, and we talked about, he was a mentor in our alumni program. Both our future leaders and our alumni programs are mentor-based. Every one of the students has a mentor that's dedicated to them for the entire school year. And they build that relationship. So Alan had been a mentor in one of our programs, and he said, how do we do more? How do we grow the talent pool? He's a chief technology officer, right? So he would like to see more Indigenous people working in technology at Sun Life. We have a goal of getting kids to graduate from high school and pick a career, choose a career. And so getting them the exposure to those careers was fundamental. So we built this partnership together, and it was just a few meetings. He'd come to my office, I'd go to his, and we'd brainstorm. And so we built a program called Tech for Life. And, you know, we exposed the kids to 3 days of intense career exposure to careers in technology. And it was interesting because one of the students said to me on a break, it was around Valentine's Day, it was in February. And so we had pizza and chocolates for them at the end of the day, right? And we played some games. And I said, so what'd you guys think today, right? And we had a full day at Sun Life getting exposed to all kinds of careers, not just tech, HR, finance. We had a young gal who wanted to be in finance, and she does actually work in finance for the First Nation.
Right.
It's her first career opportunity, right? And she said, but I never realized I could do finance and tech, that they could kind of go together, right? So our goal is really to make them have those realizations, right?
Right. It's wonderful how you have developed so many different ways to make beautiful difference, in the community. Today's conversation really highlights the profound impact that supportive communities have on small businesses. I'd love to hear from you about the communities that have made a significant difference in your journey. How has the local support shaped your business, and what steps are you really taking to give back to your community? And looking forward, into the future, Hope. I mean, there's so much room for growth and to evolve, right? What future initiatives or expansions are in the pipeline for OLI?
Yeah, that's a very good question too. Thank you for that. So, as the new CEO, my mandate is really from our board of directors to say, look at our growth strategy. And that is one of the objectives, is to grow, because we've had a steady growth over the years. And actually, we came out of the pandemic stronger. Many organizations didn't survive the pandemic or are struggling since. We have had a steady, and we had a dramatic increase after the pandemic. And part of the reason for that, as I'll come back to the mental health, is that not only are these Indigenous youth in these communities so isolated already, they became even further isolated within their isolated communities because they had to stay home, right?
Right.
And school online like everybody else. But they didn't have outlets to go out to after, that urban centers have, right? So when we went back into the communities, when it was safe and we were welcomed back to do that, they came out in droves.
Oh, God.
And this year, we had 300 kids starting the program in some of the schools. And we're like, wow, we didn't expect that, right? So it showed us that there's a demand. And so, and we have a saying in the Indigenous community, there's a moccasin telegraph, right? And so word travels fast. And so we're getting calls and emails from communities from all over the country to say, we'd like to join. And so we've got this list of over 30 communities who want to join. So my job now is to figure out, how do we bring all these new communities into the fold when we only have one show, right? Because we can only put about 200 dancers on stage. So, and is that the all and be all for the kids? So the thing you have to do is you have to go back to the kids and say, if we were going to make some changes, what should we keep? What do you like? What supports you? What motivates you, right? Because there are, if I was still in the private sector, they would be my shareholders, right? So I have to ask the kids and the communities, what's really important to keep as we modernize and advance and progress our business model and grow across the country to bring those other 30 communities in. And so we're looking at that. And then we've got unique partnerships, like an opportunity in Quebec to join with a nation who has 18 communities.
Right.
Well, that triples the size of OLI,
for sure,
probably in the next few years, should we pursue those opportunities. But we also have to make responsible growth, right? And grow strategically and responsibly so that we can hold true to our values around making sure that kids get through school and providing them with those special opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have.
Big changes coming your way.
I know.
But how do you really envision these changes to enhance your organization's impact?
I think a different operating model will help us keep focused on the graduation rate objective. But I think also being even more community-based, right?
Right.
Growing the alumni to be our dance feet on the ground in these communities. More partnerships, more local partnerships in the regions where we operate. Right now, a lot of our support comes from Toronto, from Ottawa, from big urban centers. I think we need to have some diversification and localization in the support, right? Yeah.
And with so much of exciting prospects, I think the future does look bright for OLI and the community alike. We've touched on some fascinating aspects of the future of work in our discussion today. And as we ponder the evolving workplace, consider what changes you might anticipate or are already experiencing in your business. How are you preparing to meet these new challenges and opportunities head on? Let's share ideas and prepare together for the future of work. Now, before we close, Hope, could you share one piece of advice for anyone that is looking to make a significant impact in their community through non-for-profit work?
That's a really good one too. So I would say that in my experience of working, and I did touch on this a bit earlier. In my experience, both private sector, nonprofit, post-secondary, my experience is that you will be most successful when you get yourself into the community and serve them and co-develop and partner in the development and implementation of programs.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Hope, for joining us and for all the work that you do to empower the next generation. I mean, your dedication is what's truly making a difference in the community. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And that was the end of our discussion with Dr. Hope Sanderson. A big thank you to her and our listeners for tuning in, and to our partners, exclusive shipping partner UPS, exclusive accounting software partner Xero, for their continued support. Please don't forget to visit Indigenous-SME.ca to subscribe to Indigenous-SME Business Magazine. Until next time, keep pushing forward and making an impact in your communities.